Gentlemen, if you will please remove your caps. Please join me in an attitude of centering prayer. God, it is with grateful hearts that we gather as a learning community today to celebrate another academic year at Southwestern College. We pray that all of our learning, both formal and informal, both inside and outside of the classroom, might bring honor to you. May the work of our minds and our hands be shared with the world as an offering in order to inspire beauty and purpose, wholeness, truth, and joy. Bless our speaker's words and thoughts today and give us the ears to hear all that he has to share with us. Continue to lead and guide who we are at Southwestern College as we press on in our mission of education, service, and formation. We pray that your spirit would inspire our work and our learning together. In the name of Christ we pray. Amen. You can go ahead and be seated.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the 2018 Honors Convocation. This convocation marks really the first official year-end event as we approach the end of the 2017-18 academic year. And today in this event, we acknowledge our most important commitment, our call to curiosity and scholarship, to rigor and excellence. At this ceremony, we lift up those students who have excelled in their academic pursuits. Please note the names of students who have earned top grade point averages listed in the honor roll on the third page of your program. It is also during this ceremony that we take a moment to recognize students for academic achievements such as presenting papers, participating in internships, completing academic research, as well as the many other ways students have demonstrated their dedication to scholarship, and in doing so, have modeled the mission of the college. To all of you, the students that we honor today, congratulations. To all the faculty of the college and staff who have supported, helped, and even gently pushed these students towards their potential, thank you for your commitment to mentoring and guiding, for your dedication to teaching. And to parents and friends who are here or watching via the live video stream in support of your loved ones, we congratulate you as well. These achievements reflect your care and support. To begin the 2018 Honors Convocation, I invite to the podium Vice President for Academic Affairs, Ross Peterson-Veatch.
Good afternoon, President Andrews, board members, faculty, students, staff, family, and all our guests. I'm privileged today to present to you the students who have distinguished themselves with special honors. You may have noticed the two students in distinctive robes who led in our graduation candidates today. They serve as our junior marshals. These two have distinguished themselves as our top full-time students who are enrolled in campus-based programs and have earned between 79 and 110 hours, of which at least 30 are graded hours earned at Southwestern College, having the highest cumulative grade point averages. Please join me in recognizing these two outstanding scholars as they stand and receive our applause, Raquel Resendiz and Aidan Wells Filbert. Our presidential scholars, listed on page 2 of the program, have distinguished themselves as students that have incoming GPA into the college of 3.75 or 25 on the ACT. You will see their names printed in the program. That's again on page 2. Please join me in recognizing these scholars as they stand and receive our congratulations. As President Andrews said, those students who've been named to the list in your program as members of the Dean's Honor Roll are those that have scholastic achievement of full-time undergraduate students during a single semester who earn 12 hours or more with a grade point average of 3.7 or higher. There is quite a few of them, all of them who are here in the room here. Would you please stand as we applaud for you as well? Our Phi Theta Kappa scholars have distinguished themselves as earning and maintaining a minimum 3.2 GPA. They are listed again on page 2 of the program. They're Aaron Jeffries and Timothy McClaskey. Please join me in offering our applause to them as they stand as well. Our students work very hard. They're resilient and tenacious in their pursuit of their academic careers, and their time and energy they give generously to their organizations and activities. Because of that, they distinguish themselves in their service, leadership, dedication, and energy and contributions to their major and their organizations. You will note the evidence of that in our program as you leaf through. It lists the students who are leaders, who serve our college community and their academic areas with excellence. I ask all of those who are listed in the program today to stand in recognition of the honors that you have achieved through that service and leadership in your activities and fields of study. Please stand if you're listed in the program. If you stood before, you can stand again. Excellent. A hearty congratulations to you all, and now let's be seated as we welcome Tyler and Aidan to the platform to perform.
Charity, oh charity, now what can I do? Once I gave to those in need, now I'm in need of you. Charity, oh charity, I cannot believe how easier it is to give than to let yourself receive. For what you have given me came out of the blue. What you have done for me, I never could do. Charity. Just who is helping who? You are free to go your way, whatever path you choose. The love I've lost in you, my friend, was never mine to lose. For what you have given me came out of the blue. What you have done for me, I never could do. Charity. just who is helping who? Just who is helping who?
Thank you, Tyler, Aidan. That was beautiful. Today, we are honored to host Dr. Marc McKee as our speaker. Dr. McKee is an associate teaching professor in creative writing at the University of Missouri. He received his PhD from the University of Missouri in 2014, and he teaches courses in composition, creative writing, and literature, and specializes in poetry, contemporary literature, and pop culture. He is the author of What Apocalypse?, which won the 2008 New Michigan Press Diagram Chapbook Prize, as well as 4 full-length collections, all published or forthcoming from Black Lawrence Press. His poems have appeared widely in publications such as Academy of American Poets Poem a Day, Boston Review, Conduit, Coppernickel, Crazy Horse, The Journal, and others. We are proud and privileged to have Dr. Marc McKee here today. Please join me in welcoming him.
Greetings and salutations, y'all. Teachers, administrators, staff, visitors from the community, families, and students, especially students. Let me first say what an honor it is to be asked to speak to you today for the Spring 2018 Honors Convocation. My thanks especially go to Dr. Ross Peterson-Veatch, with whom I go way, way back. Like, dude, uncomfortably far back. The first time I met Ross, I was like a blinking wet foal about to start student teaching at Harmony School in Bloomington, Indiana, where Ross taught Spanish and social studies. We were at a campground where the high school began its school year with a 3-day bonding experience, which is what you call something that involves 60 teenagers and 10 adult teachers and chaperones when you don't want to call it playing with matches while running with scissors in traffic. Now, I can't tell you that this is absolutely precisely accurate, but as the writer Tobias Wolff once said of his own questionable description of a childhood pet, memory has its own story to tell. As I was being introduced around, Ross asked me the question that would come to define the early part of our friendship and gild the ongoing friendship we continue to this day. Dude, he said to me, dude, do you like The Big Lebowski? Dude, I said, yes. Ross broke into a fantastic grin and said, dude, that's awesome. And we spent who knows how long of that camping experience and the next year quoting our favorite lines, which means nearly every line from the movie. Really, if you haven't seen it, you should do yourself the favor of watching it, maybe like as soon as you leave here. I mentioned that ritual of repeating lines not just as part of a story to tell, but to call your attention to a practice I find sustaining in good times and bad times, and in times where certainty is like a wild, elusive animal that you search for in the dark. After he asked me to come speak to you today, when we were talking about what a talk like this would entail, Ross sent me the convocation that he delivered in the fall. As you'll no doubt recall, the opening convocation invoked the philosopher Hannah Arendt in her book, The Human Condition, and specifically ideas about commitment and persistence in conditions of uncertainty, and as a prerequisite for success, the kind of success that is meaningful and that has the chance to endure. But because even success, even the best kind of success, is no lasting certainty, we often need something in addition to commitment, something that enables us to keep committing, to help us persist in the darkness that so reliably follows the day. For me, being possessed for better and worse of the soul of a poet, when darkness pervades, I am drawn with a kind of delectable gravity to words. I want to talk about two different passages from two different writers. The first is from the conclusion to a book by the German philosopher Peter Sloterdijk called Critique of Cynical Reason, written in 1983 and translated into English 4 years later. And the second is from a book of prose about poetry and art by the poet Dean Young called The Art of Recklessness. Here's the Sloterdijk. In our best moments, when overcome with success, even the most energetic activity gives way to passivity and the rhythmics of the living carry us spontaneously. Courage can suddenly make itself felt as a euphoric clarity or a seriousness that is wonderfully tranquil within itself. It awakens the present within us. In the present, awareness climbs all at once to the heights of being. Cool and bright, every moment enters its space. You are no different than its brightness, its coolness, its jubilation. Bad experiences give way to new opportunities. No history makes you old. The unkindnesses of yesterday compel you to nothing. In the light of such a presence of spirit, the spell of reenactments is broken. Every conscious second eradicates what is hopelessly past and becomes the first second of another history. Nice, right? It sounds like empirical existential magic. It's the most transcendent description of being in the zone that I've ever come across. What a piece of work is a man indeed. Now here's Dean Young talking about the imagination. The imagination plays as much a part in the creation of reality as it does in the confections of the false. It is what we appeal to and rely on when our empirical data has proved insufficient to the case. The highest accomplishment of human consciousness is the imagination, and the highest accomplishment of the imagination is empathy and the ability to love. And if you don't think that that takes a profound part in the creation of the world, please close this book right now. I mean, come on, this is like getting hit by a lightning bolt, but the lightning bolt then turns around and makes you waffles. At first, these quotes might seem at odds, even at perpendicular purpose, but I think that they reinforce each other. Let me tell you how. I first read Sloterdijk's Critique of Cynical Reason the summer after my junior year of college, and I can recommend it without reservation for two reasons. First of all, it's a challenging but supremely rewarding consideration of the history of cynicism from Diogenes to the early 1980s. This is great, trust me. Second of all, at just around 600 pages, including notes with a bright orange cover featuring a German constructivist painting, it makes a really excellent shield. Case in point, on my father's side of the family, I have an uncle married to my dad's sister who's famous for, well, let's just cut to the chase. He's a jerk. He once asked my father, who's looking at something on his phone, if that phone was an iPhone. Yep, said my father, who really should have known better. Huh, said the uncle. I prefer to interact with my kids. Right? Well, when I was 21, reading the Critique of Cynical Reason at a house off of Lake Tahoe where we'd gathered with a number of relatives from my father's side of the family, Uncle David wandered up. What are you reading there, Marc? Without a word, I lifted the book before me. Ah, he said. It was like I just offered him a bright orange rectangular snake. And lo, friends, I'm here to tell you, he backed away and didn't have a thing to say to me for the rest of the visit. Yet another example of when commitment has led to success. To get back to that first of all, however, the kind of education I got from Sloterdijk's book is the exact kind of true liberal arts education prepares you to give yourself. I'd been shown how to read closely and deeply. I had been provided a sense of history in the world and how complex and sad and amazing it was. I knew how to pursue more knowledge, and I recognized and trusted in the value of doing so. In short, I knew how to learn. I knew how to teach myself. Critique of cynical reason. Well, is there a word for making your way through a dense forest that also feels like a mountain? The Germans probably have something for that, and it's got to be at least 16 syllables. At any rate, crawling through and up, backwards and down, and finally forwards was exhilarating and taxing, and it deepened me in ways that still serve me today. To offer the briefest overview, Sloterdijk is concerned with the trajectory of cynicism from its beginnings with Diogenes of Sinope, whose philosophy of cynicism is a precursor to Stoicism, to its eventual alliance with what he terms an enlightened false consciousness. To overly simplify that profound journey, Diogenes was all about the authentic gesture of, in the parlance of our times, living your truth. Alexander the Great, hearing of him, wanted to meet him. Alexander introduced himself, standing over Diogenes in the street, who was reclining in the sun. And here's what Diogenes said to him, more or less. Dude, you're in my light. Sloterdijk believes that Diogenes' cynical impulse was to embody an honest skepticism of kings, philosophers, and institutions based on his deep knowledge of himself as a body and as a mind that can't be divorced from the reality of that body. The radical importance of that decision can't be overestimated. The thing is, Sloterdijk argues, at some point in history, cynicism stops being committed to the experiential truth of the body, which necessarily calls the powerful and presumptuous to account and rewards the simple, the earnest, the poor. Cynicism instead starts to step to tunes called by power, and thus laughing at the simple, the earnest, the poor. What's more, embracing the degraded version of cynicism became associated with being realistic. Sloterdijk's conclusion, on the other hand, asks us to depart from the false consciousness, which tells us that things which were already bad can only get worse. Throughout his book, he documents the failures and menace of cynicism sold out to power in the name of comfort, moral laziness, and the kind of creeping hopelessness that rears its head when you are alienated from your own body. But after he's waded through centuries' worth of the failure of humans to not be horrible to each other, he drops what amounts to a heroic "so what?" I love that "so what" so much. You have to remember that this is a German philosopher writing at a time when it was not hard to imagine that the Cold War could suddenly turn hot enough that no one would ever have to study or sit through a convocation, or get to fall in love, partner up, raise a family, or grow old ever again. And yet, courage can suddenly make itself felt as a euphoric clarity or a seriousness that is wonderfully tranquil within itself. It awakens the present within us. What's truly phenomenal about this is how clearly we understand that feeling of being untouchable, even if we've only experienced it a very few times in our lives. For Sloterdijk, that feeling and the way that we live and act in that feeling can extend out beyond us in that moment. No history makes you old. The unkindnesses of yesterday compel you to nothing. In the light of such a presence of spirit, the spell of reenactments is broken. This is a miraculous thing to say in our age or in any other. It means that what has hurt us personally and collectively doesn't necessarily have the power over us that we normally give it. And regardless of what has gone before, we can and should act in ways that means it cannot define us or determine us. Which brings us to Dean's quote. Comparatively, there's less to unpack here. But in light of Sloterdijk's commitment to the body, the seeming abstraction of Jung's assertion feels like something we have to weigh. Is the highest accomplishment of human consciousness imagination? Is the highest form of imagination the capacity to empathize and to love? How does that jibe with the magic of being you yourself in the zone? I think that if you really sit with it, with both quotes, Jung's fealty to the imagination takes on increased importance and urgency. Let me explain. Sloterdijk's epiphany has got to do with being aware of the history of ideas and actions they license, the bloody and destructive conflicts they give rise to. Jung suggests that we can preempt bad reality or course correct it by being so good at imagining that we imagine ourselves right into a better real, one that overcomes the dehumanizing paucity of feeling and action of a bad real. You can be in the zone, but you won't forever be in the zone. That's a guarantee I can make to you. What Dean Young gives us, as his emphatic assertion crosses streams with Sloterdijk's, is this: the power you have to imagine can bring you into alignment or close quarters with that rare feeling. It is what we appeal to and rely on when empirical data has proved insufficient. You're not going to be able to access that memory, that feeling, when you're not experiencing it, unless you cultivate a powerful imagination. And your feeling will not be as rich and terribly complex if it isn't tied to empathy. The capacity to imagine not just yourself, but the person next to you and across the world from you, experiencing the same wave crest and the same crestfallenness. The highest accomplishment of human consciousness is the imagination, and the highest accomplishment of the imagination is empathy. I'll go so far as to say that most of the time, you and I will not be in the zone. This is where imagination has to carry us. This is where the imagination finds us and leads us out of the dark and allows us to commit once more to the project of being alive in the best ways we can. Everyone here knows that it feels like we are in a moment in this country and in the world that feels peculiarly vulnerable to chaos and destruction. It's easy to feel on edge, but this isn't new. This moment keeps coming back around in different guises. Sometimes it looks slick. Sometimes it wears a toupee that seems bent on wilding out. In the darkness and uncertainty of such moments, though, we should not be afraid. We are called upon in these times to reach for and hold fast to the words that make our worlds, to carry the light, to hold it high. Listen to your words, use your words, adapt them and live them so the world has to adopt them. The highest accomplishment of the imagination is the euphoric clarity that reveals in us the ability to love. The unkindnesses of today compel you to nothing less than the highest accomplishment of awareness, where you are no different than the coolness and brightness and jubilation of the profound creation of the world. Hold fast to that. And in the words of Ross Peterson-Veatch and everyone else worth listening to, dude, go forth and do good. Thank you.
It is my privilege to announce this year's Master Builder Awards. For over 70 years, the Student Government Association, the faculty, and the student body at Southwestern have selected 6 senior students who have best typified the spirit of the college. The Student Government Association nominates a list of seniors, which is then given to the faculty. Any senior who receives a vote from a faculty member is then included on the list for the entire student body to vote on. Those top 6 students who receive votes from the student body are then named a Master Builder for that academic year. I will call up the seniors one at a time to come up on stage to receive their certificate. Their plaque is on order, and we'll get that to you in a couple weeks. So, my first Master Builder is Craig Lance. The next Master Builder is Tamunsi Whitfield. Dude, Tanner Carlson. I have known Tanner for many years. And it's pretty rare to see a transfer student get a Master Builder Award. So thank you, Tanner. Jordan Miller. Myron Fisher. We're going to keep with the basketball theme here and go with Jacob Horsch. Okay, thank you. That's all I had. I'm going to turn it over to Emily.
Thank you for moving that down for me. I needed that. Hi, everyone. I'm Emily Jones, the Student Government President this year. Each spring, the students of Southwestern College vote on who they think are the most deserving of the faculty and staff citation awards. Although we appreciate everyone who helps our school, these winners truly exemplify what it means to be a part of the Builder family. Additionally, they have made a strong effort to connect to the students of SC in a meaningful way. Without further ado, please help me in congratulating our outstanding faculty member, Stacy Sparks. The plaques for both of our winners are also on their way, so we have a certificate. And now, please help me congratulate our wonderful staff member, Arthur Vertigo. He makes great omelets. Congratulations to both of our winners.
As Matthew's getting ready to come up to lead us in the alma mater, and we close our honors convocation today, I want to both congratulate all of you and remind you that 31 days separate us from commencement. And seated at the tail end of those 31 days is finals week. There is still work to do. There is still teaching and learning to enjoy. Then, after commencement, well, that's when the real fun and the even more complicated challenges begin. Looking beyond commencement, it is your duty, students, it is our duty to continue doing hard things, to keep learning and teaching and excelling. It is that determination and will to find a way that defines all of us as builders. Today, though, we celebrate your accomplishments. We celebrate your effort at our college. We celebrate the ways you have tried and the ways in which you have succeeded, because while you have been here, you have done hard things, and it is worth it. This celebration is a milestone in the distance you have already traveled as a lifelong learner, and it is an acknowledgement and celebration of the journey still to come. Please know that we believe in who you are. We have every confidence in your ability to make a difference in the world, and we are very proud of you. Again, congratulations. Now, Matthew, if you would lead us in the alma mater.
Please stand for the singing of our alma mater.
Above the walnut valley, on a lofty height, stands our noble alma mater, bathed in golden light. Lift the chorus, speed it onward, over hill and dale. Hail to thee, beloved Southwestern alma mater, hail. Far above the stir and bustle of the busy town, reared against the arch of heaven, looks she calmly down. Lift the chorus, speed it onward, over hill and dale. Hail to thee, beloved Southwestern alma mater, hail. Height she calls us daily, alma mater dear. Heights of knowledge, hope, and courage, free from doubt and fear. Lift the chorus, speed it onward, over hill and dale. Hail to thee, beloved Southwestern alma mater, hail. Builders, my sisters and brothers, I hope that you have heard what I have heard, that in the midst of troubling and uncertain times, that in the midst of anxiety and fear, that the Spirit of God may call to us courage and an awareness of the power of now, that you may go forth with what you have gained, with compassion and with love, to build a better world. May you go forth with the blessings of God, the Father, the Son, the Spirit, and go in peace. Amen.